Hello, everybody, and welcome to NEO Now. I'm Dave Bacon. Today, we are shining a spotlight on one of Northeast Ohio's most innovative and important cultural institutions, Cleveland Public Theater. For more than 4 decades, CPT has been empowering artists, uplifting underrepresented voices, and transforming lives through the power of theater, right here in the heart of Cleveland's Gordon Square Arts District. Now, CPT is embarking on a transformative capital campaign and that will expand and remake and renovate its campus, deepen its community roots, and make space for the next generation of artists. Joining us today, Executive Artistic Director and CEO, Raymond Bobgin. Raymond, thanks so much for the time. For people who may not know, what's the mission of Cleveland Public Theater, and how does that mission connect with this important capital campaign?
Yeah, so Cleveland Public Theater's mission is to raise consciousness and to nurture compassion. And we do that through groundbreaking performance and life-changing education programs. And a lot of people, they have these like fancy missions, and especially in the theater world, everyone's groundbreaking. But when we say groundbreaking, we actually mean something pretty real. What we mean is brand new plays, not plays that were done 2 years ago, or they're saying they're daring, but are they really that daring? No, our work is really, as you said before, innovative work that challenges assumptions about how the audience and the artists participate together. And it's also about representation. Cleveland Public Theater is home to 2 community ensembles. One of them is the Latine theater of our community, Teatro Público de Cleveland, and the other is a special theater called Masra Cleveland Al Arabi. It's a theater for communities that share the Arabic language. And most of our playwrights and creators are Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And it's just a really welcoming and embracing place. Our education programs are throughout the entire community. They're all free programs, and we're working with children to create their own performance.
Yeah, that's kind of, you took me where I wanted to go. Who is involved? Who are the people that are involved in Cleveland Community Theater?
Yeah, I think one of the big things is we also see all people as artists. So when you say who's involved, we're saying the entire audience is involved somehow. When you think about it, when you come to see a play, you are actually a collaborator because you're taking all the things on stage and you're actually making meaning out of that. And when you come to Cleveland Public Theater, that audience looks like the city of Cleveland. When you look out at the audience, a lot of theaters you go to, most of the audience is, over 60. Most of the audience are white folks. This is a theater. This is really a public theater. And when you go there, you see the public.
Why is it important for CPT to take on the renovation and expansion project now?
Yeah, our founder, James Levin, he's really a visionary. And he came into this neighborhood when it was a pretty blighted neighborhood, maybe they say, and it was not a super safe place. Most of the buildings were boarded up, and he had this idea of something called the Gordon Square Arts District, and he started leading that. Ultimately, became a project with Near West Theater and Northwest Neighborhoods, who own the Capitol Movie Theater, and we raised a bunch of money in order to basic renovations to our building, to the Capitol Movie Theater, make a new theater for Near West Theater, and do the streetscape, but we weren't able to really renovate Cleveland Public Theater. We're in a building that was built in 1911, predates Playhouse Square, and a building next door that's built in the 20s. They've been kind of put together and taken apart over time, and then we also own 2 church buildings that go back to the turn of the century. So these buildings, we've done our best to maintain them, to kind of lift them up. We were able to put on roofs and put in some air conditioning, but other than that, this is really the first major renovation in the way that we think of renovation.
So what are some of the most important upgrades and changes that you want to make during this project?
The 2 big things, what's really been driving all of this is talking to the communities that come together at Cleveland Public Theater. And what we heard was a few things. One, artists were talking about, hey, when we come here, we're almost going into this like invisible building. You drive by, you barely even know it's there. You don't really know you're in the Gordon Square Arts District until you kind of hit West 65th if you're coming from downtown. We feel almost erased in our own community. And the second thing was we have these incredible properties like the church, this old, originally Romanian Orthodox church, but there's not really a functional bathroom in it. You have to go upstairs to get inside of it. We need to make this accessible and really usable. So our biggest things have to do with that front of the building, making it more welcoming, not just at the street level, but as you come in, that you're not kind of coming into this old, somewhat intimidating building. No, it's a welcoming space. And then we're building bathrooms and making the church an entirely wheelchair accessible space.
How do the renovations better serve the artists and those already working at CPT and new voices just kind of discovering the space?
Yeah, the former church is going to be called the Joan Yellen Horvitz Performance Gallery. And this is explicitly connected to artists who are creating original work. Almost 50% of the plays that we produce are actually written by local playwrights, created by local artists. We need to create this. We've been an incubator for years. We're going to be able to really provide these spaces to do even more of that incubation work, not just for our own community, but these are works that oftentimes we're able to connect to the national community.
I can tell you're passionate, you have a love for what you do.
Yeah.
What is it that gives you that and keeps you going? What makes this job a passion?
You know, one of the things, there are a couple of things, but the first thing is we really believe, because we see it every day, that that art changes lives. And we see that in so many ways. We have a program, for example, where we work with Whitehaven, which is a treatment center for formerly unhoused adults. And we're working with a group of people who've never been on stage before, right? They're in the midst of major life change. And here they are creating a play and sharing their stories with the community. And to be inside of that is just, it's an incredible experience.
So let's go back to the community campaign. What does it represent for the community, not just the theater community, and the neighborhood as a whole, where you're out in Gordon Square?
I think in Gordon Square right now, like I said, we did a lot. We're super proud of what we did in that first big effort. But now we're in a place where we need sort of the next step. And like I said, now you don't really know when you're coming into that district, not until you get to West 65th. This is going to really expand that out and begin to really let the people coming into the neighborhood, they're going to come in. It's going to be this vibrant place, this celebratory place, where really all of these arts communities are coming together. And it's not just CPT, it's all of our partners in the neighborhood. And it's also just a cool, great neighborhood.
Where are you at in the fundraising campaign, and how much more do you need to get this done the way you want to do it?
Yeah, so we're just coming up on about $9 million of a $12.5 million campaign. So we're well past the halfway mark. It's good, you know, this is a really tough climate right now to be raising funds in. And I think also in Cleveland it can be challenging. I think people who are thinking about fundraising and giving, they're seeing groups that are suffering that need help, and then sometimes they see groups that are maybe a little bit more stable and they need help, and then there's sort of like all the super big organizations, and we're all competing for those funds. So it is a rough time, and it's not just the arts. You know, when you see what happens when SNAP benefits go away and things like that, suddenly there's this kind of huge ripple effect into the fabric of everything we're doing, whether that's the arts or social service or education. And so right now it's a tough climate. We think that Cleveland Public Theater has been really a responsible organization. We've sort of demonstrated we know how to use funds well, and we've demonstrated a kind of fiscal responsibility. So I hope that that will be recognized and seen. Sometimes in Cleveland, success is punished, right? Like, oh my gosh, this place is falling apart. We have to go help them. But this place has kind of been going along, you know. But I think we're going to make it.
What's the response been from donors, the community, and kind of the people who believe in CPT's mission?
I mean, there's really been, it's been emotional. One person there was an artist that's done a lot of work in different spaces in Cleveland Public Theater, and on their birthday, someone actually took one of the drawings and said, "I'm giving you this for your birthday." Like this sense and this was one artist giving a picture of the Cleveland Public Theater building to another artist for their birthday. I mean, it was just this sense of like, People feel such an ownership of these properties. This is more than just a building to them. It's a place where they've had experiences like none other in their lives. It's a place where you come and maybe English isn't your first language, and you come and maybe for the first time in your adult life you hear your language spoken on stage, or you hear your music or the things that you care about being talked about on stage. And that doesn't happen in a lot of arts organizations. So.
All right, for those kind of watching and want to get involved, how
Yeah.
can they get involved in this campaign?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is to come to Cleveland Public Theater, and you can learn more at cptonline.org. But really, come, see the work, see these spaces, and you're going to come in and you're going to see this incredible, diverse community from across so many different groups. And come, see that, and then I think you'll find your way in, is what I'll say.
All right, so what does the dream scenario when this gets finished look like, and how does it help the community you serve?
Yeah, the dream scenario for me is that when people are driving by Cleveland Public Theater, they think, "Whoa, that's cool. I want to know what's happening inside there." Or they have a sense of who and what is going on inside there. That when they come in, they feel welcomed, they feel empowered as audience members. They're not like, what do I do here? But really feel welcomed and brought in, and that the artists, that line between the artists and the audience continues to just get thinner and thinner. Where we really see that we're all one community. We share more we have more in common than we do in difference. And so really the buildings that can support that vision and support that mission of, especially of nurturing compassion right now. We have a deficit in our country of compassion right now. And I think that when buildings support that, and we can wrap our arms around this kind of organization, it has a ripple effect. It's not just Cleveland, it's beyond that.
Raymond Bobgen, keep up the great work with Cleveland
Thank you.
Public Theater. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We will take a quick break. On the other side, we will continue to shine the spotlight on Cleveland Public Theater. You're watching NEO Now. We'll be right back.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
NEO Now continues to shine the spotlight on Cleveland Public Theater. Now that we've heard how the campaign will impact artists, audiences, and the neighborhood Cleveland Public Theater serves, let's take a closer look at how those ideas become reality. We are pleased to be joined by Director of Design, Carter Edmond, and he's helping CPT's vision of a renewed space, one that honors the past while building for the future, become a reality. Carter, how did Maroos Brothers, who you were Director of Design for, become involved in helping shape the future of Cleveland Public Theater?
So Maroos Brothers Construction has a long history with Cleveland Public Theater and also with the Near West Side, Northwest neighborhoods. We've done a lot of work in that area. And we also do a lot of work with nonprofits of various kinds. So this is kind of right in our portfolio of work that we do.
So when you first met with Raymond and the CPT team, what stood out about their vision for the space?
It is really remarkable, and they're kind of a unique client. What stood out to me, what really struck me, is their deep and sincere commitment to the artists and to the art and to centering voices that have been marginalized and excluded. This is not a client who is saying, I want this and I want this. This is a client who's saying, we need to do this for the artist. We need to do this so that this can work. And that sort of commitment to the mission, every organization has a mission, but that kind of commitment is really unusual and inspiring.
So you have these historic buildings that are literally centuries old. How much fun is it from a design standpoint, and how big of a challenge is it from a design standpoint to kind of modernize it while still respecting what was great architecture?
Right. We do a lot of historic preservation and adaptive reuse, and it is a specialty, and it is exciting, as you say, to work on interesting old buildings. But it is a challenge. You know, things aren't always level and plumb. Things aren't always, you know, where you think they are. So that's part of what you know you're getting into when you're doing historic adaptive reuse. And part of the way to solve that is we have an integrated design build team. So when we're doing design, we can call on the people who are going to do the work to come in and help us investigate. And it is a very rewarding type of work to do.
So walk us through the biggest challenges planned for the theater, structurally, visually, functionally. I imagine there's all three of those are pretty challenging.
Yeah, certainly. And you know, the Cleveland Public Theater is really a small campus, right? So there's the two main theaters, the Gordon Square Theater and the James Levin Theater, that are two separate historic buildings connected, and of course the levels aren't all the same. And the first thing you would notice as a patron or someone coming there is the facade is going to have new signage, it's going to be brighter, it's going to be much more visible. And when you come into the Gordon Square Theater, right now the lobby and entryway doesn't function very well for a large group of people coming in and waiting to go to the theater. So it's going to be more open. There's going to be a concierge desk to kind of receive you. There's going to be a proper bar for patrons, you know, for before and intermission and so forth. There's going to be sort of a pre-function area. There's going to be more restrooms. There's going to be better functioning heating and cooling. Everything is going to be ADA accessible. So that's in the main theater. At the old Romanian Orthodox Church, there's going to be a small addition to the side of that. The church is going to be, there's some restoration work to the church, which we're very happy about, being able to take this piece of Cleveland's ecclesiastical architectural legacy and give it a new life. But there's going to be a new entrance. It'll be ADA accessible. There will be proper facilities. Again, just proper heating and cooling. So it'll be a much more welcoming and usable and versatile facility for CPT and for audiences that are coming.
What challenges are there with renovating a historic space like CPT, and how do you approach them? And I imagine there's got to be some creativity that you got to use, because it's things have evolved.
And it has to be a collaborative process between us, the client, the engineers, because there's a lot of disciplines that come together for this. And yes, there are challenges. There's legacy work that's been done that may need to be redone. There's levels that need to be accommodated, and there's just a lot of very careful documentation. And really the construction process kind of blends into design because you're doing these investigations, and the design process blends into construction because you discover something and you have to figure out a design solution. So it takes a creative team.
And so, I mean, when you say team, you mean team.
I absolutely mean team. So, when we're meeting with Raymond talking about design, we might have engineers there, we have our construction people there, design architects. So it really is a team that encompasses design professionals and the owner. And listening, especially for an organization like this, listening is the key thing. I mean, as an architect, in a case like this, you need to put your ego aside. You need to take on board that there's a lot of deep knowledge that Raymond and his staff and the community have about this. And CPT has done a great job of listening and engaging the community as well. So all that is really valuable. If I just come in and say, here's my vision, that's not going to work for anybody. So it's more a process of listening than telling.
So how does the new design improve the audience experience and kind of the movement from when they walk in to when they leave?
Yeah. So in the main theater, you'll have a much more capacious entry. It'll be more gracious, and there will be more room. It'll be easier to sort of find your way around. It'll be easier to find the restrooms, and some things seem mundane, like an adequate coat closet. Well, but those things matter. A lot of the existing architecture is going to be preserved. We really like that sort of the legacy of what's there, and it's not all perfect, but that's okay. That's part of the history that you see. But there will be some new elements. There will be much better kind of wayfinding and information and amenities for everyone.
Being involved in this, what excites you personally about this, whether it's architecturally or culturally?
I would say this project, almost more than anything, is the cultural aspect. And there are a lot of cultural aspects to it. One is, like I mentioned, that the architectural legacy of this suite of buildings on this important street in Cleveland. It's part of our urban fabric that we are taking responsibility for to preserve and enhance and ensure it has new life going forward. So that's one cultural aspect. Another is taking some small part in fostering this artistic conversation that's been going on for years at CPT and is going to continue for years, and bringing the people, the audiences, the patrons, in contact with art that isn't available in other venues, and bringing those artists onto a stage that they may not be able to get to in other venues.
So timelines, where are we now? When do you expect to kind of do some of the work on site?
Right. So we're looking at construction activity for the church starting before the end of the year. So people will start to see activity happening pretty quickly.
Let's talk a little bit about how you envision the space kind of influencing Gordon Square and the surrounding neighborhoods once you finally get this complete.
Yeah. I think that's an important thing to consider in an urban environment, particularly with a client who is so committed and rooted into the community. Our design responsibility doesn't stop at the front door. So, we want the district to benefit from these enhancements, and we think this will help enliven the street front. It'll help, people know what's here. There's already a really interesting mix of storefronts and signage and activities and things in the Gordon Square area, and this will add to that. It'll be more visible. There'll be, as you're approaching it, you'll have a sense of place, before you get to 65th Street. And so I think the whole street front view of this will be, much more enhanced than it is now.
How important is this to kind of the whole fabric of that area? I mean,
I think it's crucial. It's, we think of it as the Gordon Square Arts District, and this is one of the key institutions that makes it that. This is a center of gravity of cultural activity on the west side of Cleveland. So yeah, it's central. It's a keystone of that district.
Carter Inman, thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it. Keep
Thank
up
you.
the great work.
Pleasure.
Can't wait to see what this looks like once you start putting that vision to life.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this edition of NEO Now. We appreciate it, and again, we will continue to shine the spotlight on cultural institutions throughout Northeast Ohio, just like Cleveland Public Theater. Once again, you've been watching NEO Now on Cleveland Public Theater. We'll see you again next time. Have a great night, everyone.